Morning everybody. So welcome back to, this should be 120 I think. I've got to paint these pieces this morning, spray them black, and that should be about it. Unfortunately this morning it's cool again, it's overcast. I think it might break later, I'm hoping, because it's sort of low, sort of misty stuff. I'm hoping maybe, because it's only 9 o'clock or thereabouts, Saturday morning, I'm hoping that maybe the sun will come out and break and we'll get some temp, but it's cool, so I'm actually going to crank up the diesel heater because it's only about, it's just below sort of 10 degrees C, which is not very warm. It'd be, I don't know, 40 something Fahrenheit, I'm guessing. I'd have to convert it. It'd be mid 40s, you know, sort of, it's not freezing, you know, it's sort of, if the sun was out I wouldn't worry about it, but the sun's not out and it's not probably going to get warmer unless the sun breaks. It's a bit of a bummer. So I'm going to close the door behind me, I'm going to crank up the diesel heater for a while, see if we can get the temp up. I might sit the paint on the wee wooden box just near there to get it warmed up and thinned up so it's not thick, and just get the temp up in here for about 30 to 40 minutes. It mightn't even take that long, but I just need to get it up a few degrees and obviously get the paint a bit so it's not so cold. Yeah, and then I can blow all this stuff black and obviously, you know, blow a few coats on it and turn it over and then blow another couple of coats on it, sort of type thing. Get a decent thickness on this stuff. I could prime the springs and stuff like that, but it's not really worth it. It's a good industrial chassis black sort of type stuff, and none of this stuff really super critical needs high build primer or anything on it. It only got sprayed yesterday for the itch, so the black should be fine over top of this stuff. So yeah, like a lot of this is not seen, like that's not seen. The U-bolts, like even the springs aren't really, they're seen but they're not seen, you know, it's not something that you're looking at straight away. As long as they've got a decent coat over them and they're nice and black, it's not critical. I don't really need to blow primer on them, if you know what I mean. The itch is a primer within reason, and they're all going to be satin, so as long as it's got two or three reasonable coats on them, they'll look nice anyway. So, and that stuff there, you know, that's inside the body, it's going to be inside upholstery. It's basically just so they don't rust. I'll basically just blow them so they're at least black. I'm not too worried about the shafts, that'll probably get cleaned off anyway. And they may get painted another colour on the outside, possibly when we, I don't know, I'll need to look at photos, but they might get bolted or screwed in before we paint to the type thing. I'm not 100% sure on that. So they may get extra product, but it'll be only on these bits, if you know what I mean. That there, I just want to paint black because it's a cool spanner and I just want it to look cool. Not really. I might pinstripe it one day. I've always wanted to have a go at pinstriping. I like drawing, so I've never really done pinstriping. The only thing I really painted by hand, apart from little touch-ups, is the lettering on those old tractors I did there a while ago with Dad last year. But yeah, the rest of it really just needs probably a couple of 3 good coats. And that should be plenty for what stuff is. When I do like the steering box and bits and pieces, that stuff that's inside, that's seen all the time, it will get a couple of coats of primer and then black or whatever. But it'll possibly be the same black that goes on maybe the fenders and stuff like that. I'm not sure. We might use the satin on some stuff. We'll see what happens. You know, I'm not 100% sure. But I'll get the heater on, get the door down, and get some temp in here, get some temp in the paint, and I'll get this stuff painted. That's probably pretty quick this morning for those videos. Yeah, I'll do a quick montage of spraying sort of type stuff. But yeah, it won't be much this morning. Anyway, we'll see you later on. Righty guys, so I'm almost ready. The temperature's up to about 18 degrees. I've actually got the paint sitting a few feet away from that blow heater, just getting some temp in it. I've just gone back through my gun, stripped it down, made sure it's clean, and run the brush through it, whatever. I pulled all the parts out of it, and then put it back together and just put it's a reasonable splash in the bottom of this, just a reducer, blowing it back through to make sure there's no crap and shit and everything in it. So that's all good to go. Set my my fluid needle back to where I normally have it. I've said this a few times, but when I set a gun up, depending on obviously the gun, but this here seems to spray well. But basically what I do is I wind the needle all the way in, just till it stops with that. Don't screw it in hard, just till it stops, and then back it back out. Somewhere between 3 and 4 turns is normally a pretty good range for the fluid needle. So if you've got a spray gun and you haven't done a lot of spraying before, you think, what does this crap do? So this is your fan control. Every gun's different. Like it's fan control in here. That's your air control for the amount of air that comes in. You should, in theory, leave that wide open. You don't want to be playing with this. Unless you happen to be on the fly, you want to back the pressure off a little bit for some reason. But normally you would set it either on a regulator on the bottom of here, or if you've got an air manifold like I've got, then you've got a regulator there. Not at the compressor. The compressor's wide open, but at the manifold before I come to the airline, I've got that set a few pounds above where I need it to be. And what I do is I hook just the air gun up or the spray gun up, get over there, hold the air open, and get it so like I'm standing there for a good couple of minutes and just make sure I get that air pressure dialed in. So when I am painting, it's staying at that pressure, even when the compressor's pumping, it's sitting at where I want to be spraying. So, anywhere from say 35 odd, maybe back down to mid to early 20s PSI. So wherever I'm happy with where I normally spray at, depending on the gun, what you're spraying, it's sitting at that pressure and it's holding at that pressure for at least a couple of 3 minutes, just sitting there, letting the air off on your gun, and you've got it dialed in. So when you let the trigger off, it should just build up a couple of pounds. So normally what I do in that case, I want to get some wee little regulators to go on the bottom of guns at some point, but I just don't have the cash at the moment. I've got other things that are more of a priority, and I've got a regulator on the end of that manifold where when I plug the airline in, so it's not a big problem. But what I do is before I go to spray, what I'll do is I'll just pull the trigger in so there's no fluid coming out, but it's letting that air off for a few seconds, and then I'll start spraying, so you're not haven't got that few extra PSI of high air pressure, so then it's dropped back, so you're just letting that little bit of head of pressure off, and it works fine. You're going to have to do that on your regulator on here anyway too. You would set it and then just hold the air gun, set whatever your regulator is, and you'll find when you actually let the pressure off, it'll build up 3 or 4 PSI type thing. But anyway, so I've got that set to where I would normally have it basically full fan. I've got it set at 4 turns out on the fluid needle, and this is the air control wide open. On here, this is the fan control, so that's minimum, maximum. So normally I try to run them about full, or sometimes depending obviously on how big the fan is, you might just want to dial it back a little bit, it just depends on the gun and what you're spraying. But I normally run it about full fan, or just back it off a little bit so you get that nice, you want a nice fan that's probably, I don't know, what are we talking, 6 inches, thereabouts. That's the sort of fan you want to be laying when you're spraying it whatever your nice, your comfortable distances where your gun sprays nice. You don't want to be a long way away, but you don't want to be too close, I don't know, so what are you talking? Sort of 6 inches away from the panel sort of type thing or thereabouts. And you want about a nice 6-inch pattern, nice oval pattern with a nice even spread. You just dial it in, away you go. But after a while you'll get to know your gun, and obviously depending on the product, you might have to play with it a little bit. But normally I just set this one at 4 and away I go. Some of the other ones, you might dial it back or dial it up a little bit. But it's normally between 3 and 4 turns. It's the happy medium, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you want to dial it back a little bit so you just haven't got quite so much product going on, so it doesn't run or something like that, but it all depends on the day too. Anyway, I'll get some paint mixed up, we'll get the stuff on there, which I will shut the heater off because it's, by the time I'm talking now, it's getting close to sort of 20 degrees C, so whatever that is, almost 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was about half of that before, it was only about 10 degrees or barely. So it was too cold to spray really. You could, but not ideal. Anyway, I'll get myself sorted and we'll get into it. Walk around. So I think I've got plenty on this stuff on this side, and we'll, that'll get another reasonable coating when we turn over. It's like only just these pieces that aren't going to get paint. The same with this stuff. But yeah, 15, 20 minutes, and this stuff should be fine to turn over. And it should be dry enough that it shouldn't be any too much of a problem. So that's cool. And both the tops and the bottoms will get another reasonable coating anyway, because you're going to get it from both directions again. That's cool. Righty, see you in a few. Righty, so it's all painted, turned over, whatever. I tried not to get too much on the sort of the threads. And try and miss the ends of these, so when we put them on and whatever, because it possibly may end up body colour the ends pieces, so everything's all good, plenty of coats on it. So I'll clean them again. Morning everybody, so welcome back to NZ Mopar Outlaw Kustoms. This is a bit of a new one for you. So I'm actually trying to officially push this into actually a proper business, and it'll be tied in with Arco and Heidi at Minnesota Outlaw Kustoms. We're going to, obviously if you have a look at my channel, you'll see that I've incorporated my logo into their logo, sort of blended the two together. So yeah, I'm in the process of working all that out. If you actually type it in on Google Earth, you'll find out where I'm working from too, if you so desire. So I did that last night too, but anyway, so I'll get this, I'll get the springs put back together. I've got to go pick go get some bolts for those main things, because those nuts are all being mangled and the bolts being cut queer. I possibly could just dress the bolts up, but well, yeah, I probably could. I'll compare them to the original ones on front springs, because I would actually like to round the head off and put a slot in it like they should be, instead of just whatever they've made up. And I'll see if I've maybe got some nuts here. We'll see how that works. Otherwise, I'll go get a couple of new bolts, new high tensile bolts and nuts, and I'll make it better. And we'll get that stuff back together. But I've also got to go check out, see if this kingpin stuff's back together, or finished. And then once I've dealt with that stuff, I'll have a look at these fenders and bits and pieces, and we'll have a bit of a block back on some of that stuff and see what it comes up like. And just go from there, basically. So yeah, I'm officially trying to turn this into a legit business instead of me just doing bits and pieces here with what I was doing, but I'm trying to turn it into a business. It's slowly sort of been building there, but it's sort of been see how it rolled sort of thing with just doing this restoration. But with these other jobs coming on, I sort of need to turn it into an official business sort of thing. But I need all the help still that I can get to, all those sorts of things. If I can get 1,000 subs, I can put that money back in to the business and projects and bits and pieces, because I desperately want to build something for myself. I've still got to go pick up that Strat 6 Australian Hemi. That was actually out of one of my cars 20 odd years ago. So I want to build that into a hot rod or a rat rod or something, use that as the powertrain. I know the motor run years ago. It wasn't terribly healthy, but I know it run, and I'll go through it. I'll see. I know enough guides that hopefully I should better get enough bits and pieces, and maybe buy the odd new, buy a new set of lifters and bits and pieces, and see if I can cobble together a reasonable engine, maybe get the block board, and put a set of oversized pistons in it, whatever. I don't know. I've never had the motor down. I know it run. If I get it back here, I will try and get it running, see if I can get it to start up and see if it's still free, because it's been out of the car since like 95 or 6 or 7. So it's been out of the car a long time, and it's probably never been turned over in that time. But I know it was a running engine at the time, so I'll see if I can get that. And it's got a Borg water 3-speed auto on it. When I build something, I won't build a powerhouse, I'll freshen it up, whatever. We'll have a look at the trans, see what it takes to rebuild the trans and that, because I've done a couple over the years, so I haven't been inside a Borg water, but it's something I'll look at too. Like I've rebuilt a 727 Torquefly, and that was, I wouldn't say it was straightforward, but it was with a few instructional videos actually from a guy in Australia. It was a fairly simple thing, as long as you did it piece by piece and laid it out. It wasn't terribly difficult. And just follows his instructions and check things, That's what it's all about. A little bit of knowledge, from somebody else's videos. It's amazing, what you can do. And just go through step by step, and you'll learn, in a few books and whatever. So yeah, but anyway, I'll get into this stuff cleaned up, get these springs back together. We'll have a look at these fenders and hood sides, tops and bits and pieces now that I've had. What are we talking? So basic part of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's now Monday morning to try and cure up, and I'll see what they're like. We've had some good temperatures over the weekend. It should be fairly hot today. It's a bit cool at the moment. But yeah, we'll see how all that stuff looks and see if we can sand something back and just see what it comes up like. and at least see if the paint's going to, or the pie build is going to block back nicely, or whether we need to leave it for another couple of days, you know, because with sandpaper, you know, sometimes it'll pull up and fill the paper, a bit like the body puller does. So if it's a bit, it should be fine because it's 2-pack, but you never know. Sometimes you get the odd paint that you might just have to leave for another week and block it back, and then that should be fine, you know. It's just one of those things. But we've had some good temps. It's been mid-20s most days, so it should have been warm enough to cure off and not be green, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'll get into it, stop waffling. Right, so I'm just comparing notes between this front spring, the bolt that holds it together, in the centre, and then this one here that's obviously been, had the end cut off it. I've just tidied it up. I found another new nut to put on it. Well, another's flying around, so the nuts are a bit thicker. That's not going to matter much, but it's this end, that's the bit of the, I wouldn't call it an issue, but I just wonder if I could actually maybe build this up with weld and grind it round and put a slot in it like that, just so it looks like the original sort of thing. I presume these have just been bought at some stage to do the job, if you know what I mean, and they've been too long and they've just hacked it off. We hadn't cleaned it up, and for some reason I'm wondering, because maybe it was too big to fit actually. I actually thought it might have been, this hole in here might have been too big, too small, but no, it's plenty big enough. It's huge, like you could drive a truck through that compared with the bolt. So I'm not really sure why they ground the crap out of that bolt and made it look like a dog's breakfast. The only other thing I need to probably check is the diff housing. I'll have a quick wee look at that and I'll come back to you. Hold on. Yeah, right, it's the diff housing. It does fit in, but it's snug. Like with paint and you know, rust and whatever, you know, it would be a bit of a prick to get out of there. Like, it's snug, whereas that slips in there just because it's not, hasn't got the points on it. It actually slips in there quite nicely. So what I might do is build this up with a bit of weld, so I can get a bit more height on it maybe, and then grind this round and flatten it off and put a slot in it like that. So I'll do that with both these bolts. Both of them should be alright. I just, you know, need to find a decent nut for the other end, and obviously do something with these heads, so at least they're like that. Righty, so I've got these built up and ground down, so they're about similar. They're not 100%, but at least they sort of look like they might be legit. So now I'll cut a slot in them. Might even just put a cutting disc on the grinder and just run it across there and put a nice slot in it, so at least it looks like it should have been. And next time I'm painting something, well, right, you could probably even just buy a can of just black paint. For all it's going to matter, it's going to be up in between the diff and the springs and everything, so you're not going to see that end of it anyway. But at least it's kind of like it should be, instead of just a square like a normal head. So yeah, that's what it would have been. Had a slot in it, so I'll just bang a slot in it with the cut and disc on the grinder and be done with it, I think. Right, sorry, look around the bloody lights, God. Freaking phones don't like freaking LED bulbs, just freaking any lights, do they? Fluoros or whatever. That's better. So yeah, I've got the slots cut in these, just with the angle grinder. Nice big fat flat bladed screwdriver fit in there. You know, that's what they would have had back then, so got them both done. So what I'll do is actually I might go see about these about the kingpin stuff, and I'll just grab a can of zinc it. I'll show you that when I get back, which is, you can just buy it in black and silver and whatever else, and just spray these black, just so they're not, you know, bare metal, and then at least then they'll be protected and they're not going to, well, you know, it's going to take time to rust, not just flash rust and look like crap in 15 minutes, if you know what I mean. driving down the road and the first time it rains. They get all shitty and ugly in there and then start causing, well, not so much cause problems, but just eat the head off it and that sort of stuff. At least we'll give it half a chance of not rusting and corroding. So that's cool. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go see about these kingpins, and then yeah, we'll put the spring packs together. I need to find another nut, but I should have plenty around here. I'll just rob one off the because I got to put rivets in that what do you call it? In the folding top part. I can just pinch a nut and bolt off there if I haven't got a spare nut. Because they're going to be all riveted together anyway eventually. So yeah, that'll do. I'll see you shortly. Righty, so unfortunately the kingpins aren't ready yet. The machinist at the local engineers, the guy that does a lot of machine work, has been out on site, but he should be back Thursday this week, and then hopefully he'll get into that sort of stuff, which would be nice, because I'd like to get that front end back together. But I don't really want to assemble the, well, I don't really want to put the front axle on the springs and put it underneath and then try and get the kingpin stuff in there. I'd rather have the axle free so I can work on it on a bench sort of type thing to put it together. Whether I take it back around to Dad's or something like that, or I do it here or whatever, doesn't really matter, but yeah, I don't really want to assemble it underneath the car and then try and fight with it down there. It's a lot easier to fight with it at, you know, bench height. But anyway, I got this, the C.A.R. black zinc, great stuff for just, if you just want to paint a couple of heads of bolts or even just a odd bracket. It works quite well. Never had any issues with it. It comes in all sorts of different colours. I don't know whether it's available around the rest of the world. Sometimes you find that sometimes there's products made in certain parts of the world that aren't made in other parts of the world, if you know what I mean. So this is made in New Zealand and obviously Australia as well. So whether it's a product that's in the States or anything like that, I don't know. Anyway, so I'll give these a couple of quick coats, just so that I can at least put those spring packs back there when these are dried a little bit. It's nice and warm now, so it won't take too long for these to dry. It's basically just a rust protection, zinc rust protection, whatever. Works quite well. So, easily mixing up some 2-pack. It's going to be in the buried in the diff housing, the heads anyway, so just look okay and get a bit of protection. Give them another coat shortly, just so they get a little more than just one coat on them. So yeah, I'll start. I might bring this one of those rear spring packs around here and start putting them together, because I've got to try and squeeze those brackets open that I spread. I want to try and squeeze them back together without damaging all the paint. Alrighty guys. So, welcome back. Just went home for lunch and I was about to sit down and have something to eat, and a courier turned up outside and did a package for me. I know who it's from. It's from Horse. I pulled all the crap out of it. So it's from Horse Garage. The boys over in Idaho there somewhere. So yeah, we'll open her up and have a wee look inside. I've got some ideas what's in here, but I'm not 100% sure what all's in here. That's why I thought if I'd sort of sit down, just in case. So I'll open her up and have a look. Could be entertaining now, those boys. Got a pretty good sense of humour. So I know this only took a couple of weeks to get here, so that's pretty good, especially for coming halfway across the world at this point in time. All this COVID crap, man, I need to sharpen that knife. It's getting blunt. I need to sharpen this knife. Right. So they asked me to film it while I opened it, so we'll film it while we opened it. Our buddy Glenn. We'll have a look in here first. What have we got in here? What have we got in here? Oh, looks like it's got pink flowers or something on it, so. William and Jason, and gosh, I can't think what your bloody mate's name is. Your cousin's name. Alright. So a few postcards from Napa, Idaho. It's pretty cool. There's a few things you can see Napa when we live here, or where we live. Jesus, we're growing big. One potato. Here's the cod. Okay. That's a hell of a spot. Jesus. Okay. Jackalope. Really? Look, a freaking cross between a rabbit and a deer. Interesting. Got to be a piss take, surely. Oh, what have we got here? Little love letter, is it? Best day ever. Jason Clean. Arco. Oh, that's funny. Oh, crack up, guys. Awesome. Arco parachuting in. So you can see my. Oh, funny. William, Jason. Yeah, Nara. Cool. Nash. Oh yeah, that's William's son. Cool. Very good. All right, what do we got in here? What have we got in here? What have we got in here? Backing pad. Oh yeah. Oh, I just think it's awesome. That's a backing pad for a grinding disc. Interesting. Stickers. Wicked. Couple of cards. Oh, and some money. The first American dollar. Or about $1.45, $1.50 New Zealand. Awesome. Cool. Have a bit of look at that in a minute. What else we got in here? some of your poly discs. That'll be interesting. That'll be a good comparison. Heart. That will be a good comparison. Let's see how well that lasts. Oh yeah. Flat wide disc. DeWalt. Maximum 20,000 RPMs. That's all of them. That'll be handy. Very handy. Very handy. Guess what you need. 3M. What have you sent me, boys? All sorts of treats. What have you sent me? Oh, shitload of, must be sanding discs to go with this, is it? Sick. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Thank you. I know what that is. We'll open that in a minute. A rock. A genuine Idaho lava rock. Don't eat it. Oh, awesome. Bit of American soil, eh? Idaho spud. That'll be interesting. Candy bar there. Made Idaho famous. Interesting. Have a look at that later. A couple, three of them. I'll have to share them with the clan at home. Made Idaho moose poo mints. Chocolate peppermints. That's a cool little tin. That is a cool wee tin. That's cool. Right, let's have a look at this. I know what this is. Iron Horse t-shirt. Sweet. Yeah, cool. So that's the front of it, yep. And the back. Cool t-shirt. Very cool t-shirt. Look at that. Probably even fit. It's a bonus. Mrs. won't get it. Thank you very much, guys. Absolutely awesome. Have a look at these stickers now. Put that back in the bag so it doesn't get dirty. Well, not today anyway. Maybe you can pack a little box in it. Little sealed bag, is it? Right. Sweet. Cool. What's that card? Oh, that's for cards. Wicked. Look us up on social media and YouTube. Hombre Garage. William. Wicked. Cool. And plenty of stickers. I actually need to find something to put some stickers on. I'll probably put one of these small ones in the toolbox. But I actually need to find something for in here that I can put some stickers on, because I've actually got from Stuff with Cletus, I've actually got a couple of stickers from him too, from ages ago. I actually meant to do a video about them too, but I need to, since I've moved house a while ago now, I actually need to hunt them down again. That's cool. Genuine American dollar, eh? Totally different to our money, eh? Totally different. Reminds me of the old paper money that we had years ago when I was a young fella, before they went to sort of the more plasticky stuff. Well, I think I got a $5 note from C.A.R. So it's a New Zealand $5 note. I think this might be one of the older ones. from a few years ago. They've done a couple of updates, but very similar. But it's even smaller than the American. But that's like a plastic. So you've got like a clear window in it. Pretty sure this is an older one. There's a newer version out from this too. I think. Pretty sure there is. Because there's old 20s and new 20s and 50s and whatever. Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. William and brain fart. But yeah, no, it's absolutely awesome. Right, interesting. We'll play with him later. That'll be very handy. Gee, that's quite heavy. What a thick, heavy backing. Made in the US of A. 10,000 RPMs. Gee, that's solid. Wow. We used to have it used to be a pretty popular thing years ago. I don't know if that's quite so popular now, but similar sort of thing, but it was just a rubber. It was a rubber thing. It was a bit like this, but it wasn't. It didn't have this big heavy centre in it, because that actually spins onto the what do you want to call it? Piece in the middle centre of the grinder. The thing we had was that would sit over top of the rubber backing, and then it had like a big flat nut that you would screw into it. That's interesting. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Much appreciated. I'll open these up at home. Might do a little video and we'll do another wee iteration of this. See what everybody thinks of the Idaho Spuds and the peppermint moose poos. Very cool. Thank you very much. I see these are the jam nut off mine, and that's yours. It's fucking huge. That's crazy. Wow, that kind of sucks. I didn't realise the American, what do you want to call it, arbor or the spindle or whatever you want to call it, is bigger. Oh, that's a 5-inch grinder, a 7-inch grinder, and that doesn't fit on there. It's air threads like 14mm, whatever it is, and this is like 5/8, which would be like equivalent of 16mm thereabouts. It's just, they don't fit. This is the wire wheel they sent me. It just, it sucks, because that's a 7-inch grinder. I thought maybe they might fit the 7, but man, that's what a bummer. I better use that, but yeah, I'd have to make up a little skinny adapter, which I don't think you'd ever get to work. You'd be cutting one thread into the other thread. That's how close it is. That's crazy. Because they have 4-inch grinders, 10mm, which is close to 3/8. 14mm, which is basically 9/16-ish. Yeah, and the American stuff must be 5/8, and Arco said the 7-inch and 9-inch grinders were bigger again. So it's crazy. That's a total bummer. Yeah. Because there's like a whole stack of discs there, which would be really, really cool to be able to use, and can't use them. What are the odds of that? Because that's meant to lock onto that thread. That's an absolute bummer. It's a shame that the guy sent this stuff all this way and I can't use it. It's so awesome thought too, you know, to send some stuff that they like using for me to try it out and can't even use it. What a bummer. That sucks. Alrighty, we'll catch you later on. I'll work out something else to do. Well, now that I've looked and played with that and talked to people across the world to figure out what the difference is between the American and the, well, I don't know if it's just New Zealand, Australia, or the rest of the world's grinders. We had quite an in-depth conversation. But yeah, as a 14mm, and obviously the American ones, 5.8, and there was obviously different sizes as well. Like 4mm ones are 10mm, and their bigger ones must be bigger than that again. But I'll come up with something, because yeah, I really want to use these just to see what they are. But I think maybe I might see if I can get somebody to turn me, maybe might even get my brother to turn me up a 14mm, like almost like a flat nut with a cone sort of in it that goes down in, and I'll just drill these out. I'll just put a big drill bit through them and a drill bit through the centre of the backing pad, and just have it, and so maybe the nut goes down inside that, and just open it up a bit, if you know what I mean. Make it work. It's either you can buy a spacer adapter, because the threads are so close. You can't have it so it's like, you know, wind one over the top and then wind the other one on. It's too close. It'd be too small to break off, I think. Which is a bit of a bummer. If it was a 10mm to 5.8, you can buy that. Well, it's basically just a thread over top of a thread, but you'd have to buy a spacer adapter, which is probably not too bad, but it just means everything would be sticking. Just means it would be sitting up like this instead of, you know, down in here flat. It would be sitting up, which would probably save the backs of your fingers, but but yeah, oh, we'll work something out, because I want to use that. It looks good, and it's not too difficult to put it in one or more discs. There probably are available here in some sort of fashion, if you know what I mean, but good drill holes there. But I'm going to set one of these. I might set up a hood top and block that out. I'll get rid of some of the, put some of the other stuff away that I haven't had a chance to look at yet this morning. I was mucking around putting those packs together and trying to see whether those other stuff was ready. So I got all the springs together and whatever, but I'll get this stuff out of the road, set it away somewhere, and yeah, we'll put one of these hood tops on here, and I'll block one out and see what it comes up like. Righty, so I've just chucked some paper on here, just on this block in the meantime, because I've got, you know, good paper on those other ones. It's 80 grit, and I've still got some other stuff to sand and block out, so I'll just use this in the meantime. It's a long flat block. I'll put 240 on here to hit this down anyway, so we'll give this a rub and just see how well cured this is, and I'll see how well this paper performs. Looks like it's going to be right. Quite sure if you can see that or not. Try and get you close enough so you can. Maybe. Not sure if you can see that or not, but you can obviously see where it's sanding and it's missing like the orange peely stuff. You can also see the low marks and bits and pieces. But it looks like it might, looks like it can flatten out reasonably easy. I'll keep going. Seems to be sanding alright. I don't see any issues with the paper at this point. I'll get an air hose here, over here with the gun and with the blowgun. I'll keep sanding and I'll come back to you when I've done a bit. We'll see how we get on. Right, hopefully you can see this. I'll just give it a quick blow off. Now I'm not worried about some of the like funny marks like this. It's more the orange peel. No, any other like ridiculous marks. No, we can fill glazing putty, whatever. But yeah, it's more the where the orange peel is. You know, to get all that right back, all over. And as long as we're not through the steel anywhere silly, like I've got an edge here, but I'm not panicked about that. That's minor. You know, as long as it's not through the steel anywhere here, I might do a light mist, even with that bit of black paint that I got earlier on. Dust it from afar, and let that go off for a bit. It's nice and hot, and then I'll go from 220 to 320. I'll block it again. And that'll give me a good guide. Like any of these other funny marks, I'm not stressed about them yet. Like when I've got it down and I'm touching steel, I'll go around or I'm close to, I can see that I'm coming through the steel somewhere. Then I'll go around and fill what's left, if you know what I mean. That whatever's poking through still. And then I'll knock that down with probably, 320 or 220 again, where I'll fill it, or, block it back. And then we will high build again, and then in theory it should be like 320 and 400, and this should be good to go. Apart from some of these marks which will disappear, this is going to come out really nice. It's coming out really flat. Like it's still orange peel on it that I got to block out, but it's coming, and it's coming fairly easy. It's freaking stinking hot, and it's got hot this afternoon. I have to frickin' wear some shorts and a sleeveless top of some description tomorrow, singlet or something. So if it does get hot like this again, I can strip down. Whew. Sweating. But yeah, it's going to come up. They're going to come up. This is going to come up really nice. The other one should come up nice. I'll block these out first, and then I'll go to these more awkward panels, which are not quite so easy to. Man, stop shaking. Not so easy to sand out, smooth like this, Like this is easy, but not quite so easy. But with those curved blocks, I can attack them, and hopefully we'll get them down to something similar to this, and then we can, fill in the last little marks and whatever, and blow a bit more high build on it. So whatever I put on here, like it's obviously when I originally blocked this out. This was all a little bit high still, so it doesn't matter if I keep going down to this and I don't get down to steel. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. It just means that you're getting this flatter and flatter and flatter until, and then you can bang another couple of coats on it and fill your marks, and away you go. It's easy. But anyway, I'll carry on, we'll come back to you if I get all these other marks, out, apart from some of the silly stuff, but I'll try and get rid of all the rest of this orange peel if I can. So basically use the orange peel. If you're not familiar with sanding, you get your body filler on, whatever, block it out with something similar, these sort of blocks. Get it as flat as you think you possibly can. Skim coat the whole thing, whatever you have to do. Make sure you knock thints out, it's not thick. Block it out until you think you're really close. Now, if you've still got the odd little mark in it, don't super stress. Smash some high build on it, block it out again. A couple of times if you can. Go through your 220. If you're not through the steel anywhere major, if you're on just got a little edge, don't stress about that. Missed it with a bit of guide coat. Go down to your next grade, like your 320 or whatever you're going to go to next. Sand that out, and if you touch steel, stop. Fill your marks, give that a quick rub out, smash some high build on it again, and start with your 320 and then go to 400 and whatever you want to go to after that. And it should be really nice. So I'll carry on. Righty, so I'll block the crap out of this with the 240. I think I've almost got everything apart from some of the bad marks, which, like I said it before, I'm not panicked about. I can fill them. So I've still got a little bit of orange peel here, which I could probably block out. But here, I'm just starting to break through to that edge. So I'm just starting to come through the, you know, the body filler as well. You know, apart from that, there's a few bits over here, but I think the worst ones with a little bit of, with a wee smear of glazing putty, like this stuff and here, and a wee bit more of a block back, and another coat of high build. You know, obviously I've got to put something in here that's, I can sand it down more, like I can come down a bit more yet. But I'm actually freaking beat because it's about 4 o'clock and I'm running out of water and whatever. You know, I've almost got rid of this line too, but that's quite deep. That can, you know, have a little bit of putty in it, and then, you know, it's another couple of coats of high build. But that's going to come out really, really nice. Now with a little bit more work, a touch of glazing putty here and there, and another couple of 3 coats of high build, and block it back, and it'll be good. You know, we should be good. So that's cool. I might block it out a wee bit longer, so we can get rid of this mark and get rid of a little bit more of some of these funny spots, you know, a bit here, so we can get some of this edge out. You know, like high build will take some of this out too, you know, like another layer of high build will probably even get that. But if I can get it out now, that means that I'm not getting it out, trying to get it out later with high build. Like some of these deeper marks, I'll just have to put something in, you know, or maybe even when I do go to blow a little bit of high build, just give these some of these bad areas a bit of a puff first, you know. Could even just go, you know, and just spot some of those worst spots a couple of times, and then come back over and blow, you know, my three coats on or whatever, just to give this some extra material. You know, if I don't, like, I will put glazing putty in, especially in stuff that's bad, like these marks here and that, you know, and that line there definitely is going to get glazing putty. But some of the other stuff, you know, you'd almost get it by doing what I just said, you know. Give it a, you know, you can just blow a little bit, let it go off for 5 minutes, give it another wee blow, let it go off for, you know, a few more minutes, and then start smashing your paint on. You know, it's a little trick that you can do. But I'll give this a bit more of a block. I don't know if I'll bring you back one more time, because you can see, should have just noticed there, that's shiny. So I'm actually through to steel there. I can block this a little bit more and try not to come down too much over that. But if I blow out to steel a little bit, I'm not stressed, you know. It's taken a long time to get down to there, and we're you know, almost got it, you know, apart from a few marks. But that's cool. I'm pretty happy with that. That is going to be pretty nice, and that's only block back with 240. And I've just been using that block. I did try that a couple of times just to see how it worked over this shorter panel, and it's going to work fine. But yeah, that's cool. All right, I'm going to do a bit more, and I'll either see you tomorrow, or I might just do an ending for this video. Yeah, right, I'm away. I'm about to pack up and head home. I'm absolutely buggered from sanding. I've got a little bit more off it. You're probably borderline hard to tell, but what I'll do is I'll skim. I'll mix up a little bit of glazing putty in the morning, putty those bad bits, and again, I might rub the inside out just by hand. With I've probably got a couple of little soft blocks. I'll just quickly rub it back with some 240, and then when I want to reprime it, might give it another coat in there, and then rub it back with some 320 or something, or 400 inside, so it's nice, at least nice and smooth in there. And it'll be ready for paint on the inside, obviously, just make sure it's all clean around the edges and stuff. And then we'll and we'll lock it back on the other side once I've done a few more panels and got them ready for the next prime. You know, stuff that doesn't need to go back on the body to be checked, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm buggered. I'm definitely wearing a singlet wife beater, tank top, whatever you want to call it, and a pair of shorts tomorrow. If it gets this hot, I might even see if I can dig out a little little fan from somewhere. Just have a bit of cool air blowing around if it gets hot like this. And it takes it out when the heat comes up. Whew, not used to it. But anyway, it's good. Right, we'll catch you later on.